Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, in San Antonio, a house party turns deadly, claiming the lives of 2 people.
In Victoria, a 20-year-old man is facing multiple charges and a $50,000 bond. The details of his arrest tonight.
And in a temporary win for Governor Greg Abbott, the Biden administration won't be able to continue to take down the razor wire at the U.S.-Mexico border.
We have a few showers around the area, as you see right about there. They just came through downtown Victoria, but they're not very heavy, fairly light. Good news is by noon tomorrow, most of this will be gone. And then we've got to talk about what's going to happen for Halloween Eve. All that coming up in a moment.
And the game of the week is no shocker to anyone. It's East versus West. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now after Monday Night Football. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A 20-year-old man was arrested in connection with the shooting deaths of 2 people at a house party in San Antonio over the weekend. KSAT reports Raul Trevino III was booked into the Bexar County Jail early Monday and charged with capital murder, multiple persons, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. San Antonio police said 2 people were killed and 3 others, including a 13-year-old girl, were injured when an argument at a party ended in a shooting on Saturday night.
Victoria police arrested 20-year-old Gage Scott Mills. He is charged with theft of a firearm and 2 drug possession charges. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. And Hallettsville police arrested fentanyl, and a pistol on him. He faces a weapons charge and 2 drug charges.
A magistrate judge dropped charges against LaJames Norman in connection with last week's shooting in Bloomington. The charges were dismissed after a hearing with a judge last week. 2 other teens remain charged in the crime. Highway 172 near LaWard was shut down this morning due to heavy smoke from an oil field storage tank fire. Both lanes on 172 were closed for a while. The fire was extinguished and the road was reopened. As those temperatures continue to drop outside, Midcoast Family Services asks for the community's help for supplies. 25
News Now reporter Adarius McCormick spoke with the CEO about what's needed.
A cold front hit the Crossroads this week. Temperatures have dropped as low as 43 degrees in some areas. Midcoast Family Services helps the less fortunate throughout the year, but their help is crucial during the colder months. The organization's CEO says it's harder these days because the number of homeless and less fortunate people continues to rise.
The biggest challenge has got to be there are more people on the street than there have ever been, and their needs are so great.
The Homeless Coalition of the Golden Crescent found homelessness has doubled since 2018. These numbers make it hard for Midcoast to help. That's where the organization needs the community to step in and donate.
The main thing is just something to wrap up in, and hopefully they can get out of the wind, and the wind chill won't be unbearable if they have some cover.
They are asking for blankets, sleeping bags, and more. For more information, contact Midcoast Family Services at 361-575-7842 or stop by at 2010 North Navarro Suite A. Reporting in Victoria, I'm Adarius McCormick, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
Darius, thank you. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. I've read a report tonight that TxDOT is now treating Interstate 35 around Waco and Temple. They're expecting possible ice over there, Mac.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Don, this is the first big freeze that we're going to get in Texas. For us right about now, you can see how we've had the cloud cover and the few little light showers move through the area. But here's the good news. The clearing is right about here. So it's just south of Austin. It'll be going down to the coast by tomorrow morning. And that's why it's so much colder up in North Texas. The skies have cleared. Temperatures will drop and they're going to be below freezing. We'll talk more about that and what to expect for Halloween Eve coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Tonight, Israeli ground forces have pushed further into Gaza on a mission to wipe out Hamas.
This as the IDF says they have rescued a female Israeli soldier who was taken hostage by Hamas 3 weeks ago. However, please continue for the release of hundreds of other people believed to be held hostage in Gaza.
Tonight, Israeli troops advancing into Gaza with flares seen over the region as IDF troops and tanks push deeper into the besieged enclave. This as Israeli defense forces say a female Israeli soldier, Private Ori Megadish, who was kidnapped by Hamas during the initial terror attack in Israel on October 7th, has now been rescued. The soldier reunited with her family and said to be in good condition. The emotional celebration as she saw her grandmother captured on video and shared by the Israeli government. Meantime, Hamas releasing a video claiming to show 3 more women still being held captive. ABC News will not show the full video. One woman pleading for their release. Her father saying his heart almost stopped when he saw her. Other family and friends saying they're relieved to see her alive, but worry for the hostages' survival.
24 days have already passed. How is it possible? How are they not free?
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing for the release of what is believed to be more than 200 hostages, including Americans.
Every civilized nation should stand with Israel in demanding that these hostages be freed immediately and freed unconditionally.
But saying a ceasefire is off the table.
Just as the United States would not agree to a ceasefire after the bombing of Pearl Harbor or after the terrorist attack of 9/11, Israel will not agree to a cessation of hostilities with Hamas after the horrific attacks of October 7th.
Inside Gaza, aid workers say that the humanitarian crisis is growing more dire, despite some truckloads of food, water, and other critical supplies entering the territory from Egypt. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
59 aid trucks are waiting on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border, crossing with Gaza to undergo security checks Monday morning. The UN says if they cross, it will be a significant increase in the number of daily aid trucks entering Gaza, but it's still short of roughly 4,500 trucks that used to enter daily. Israel imposed a complete closure on Gaza from the 2 crossings it controls in response to the October 7th Hamas attack, leaving the Rafah crossing as the only entry and exit inside the Gaza Strip.
A federal court judge granted Texas' motion to temporarily stop the removal of the razor wire until a preliminary injunction hearing is held. Last Tuesday, Attorney General Ken Paxton sued the Biden administration, claiming federal agents were destroying state property by cutting razor wire in the Eagle Pass area on the border with Mexico. He said the federal government was using machinery to dismantle the border barrier installed by the state. The temporary restraining order expires on November 13th, but could be extended by the court. A trial date for Attorney General Ken Paxton's long-running securities fraud case was set. The date is April 15th. Paxton is accused of defrauding investors who were backing a company called Servergy in 2011 when he was a state lawmaker. In 2015, Paxton surrendered to authorities on 2 charges of securities fraud in excess of $100,000. He was also charged with a 3rd felony for advising or representing investors without properly registering. Paxton will face a long prison sentence if convicted.
A jury has been picked in the trial of the woman accused of murdering pro cyclist Anna Mo Wilson started this morning in Austin. KXAN reports Caitlin Armstrong will go on trial starting Wednesday. She is charged in Wilson's death. Armstrong pleaded not guilty in July of 2022 with her arrest and plea following a 43-day fugitive hunt tracking her from Austin to Costa Rica, where she was found and arrested. Armstrong faces a first-degree murder charge and has pleaded not guilty. She faces up to 99 years in jail if convicted.
Early voting in Victoria for the November 7th election continued Monday. The numbers from the Victoria County Election Administrator look like this. 258 people voted in person early Monday. 1,213 people have voted early in Victoria County so far. 40 mail-in votes were received Monday, a total of 375 mail-in votes so far.
You can vote early in Victoria County all this week. The hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday, and extended hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday. You can vote at the Dr. Patty Dotson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro, Classroom A.
In this Texas constitutional amendment election, Proposition 8 authorizes the creation of the Broadband Infrastructure Fund. Proposition 8 would create a fund to develop and expand access to high-speed internet across the state. Election day is Tuesday, November 7th. Pet adoptions in Victoria might become easier next year. The number of stray animals in Victoria continues to rise. In order to help reduce the amount of animals without a home, Victoria County Commissioners approved applying for grant money to hire someone to oversee pet adoptions. This position would promote, conduct, and keep track of all animal adoptions in the county. Victoria County Judge Ben Zeller says this new position will be a positive step forward.
If approved, this would hire a full-time individual who would help promote adoptions of our cats and dogs. It's in line with one of our big picture objectives to increase adoptions within the community.
Judge Zeller says they should know if the county has been approved for the grant after the first of the year.
The rising number of stray animals roaming the crossroads continues to be a problem without an easy solution. Mark Sloat, Director of Animal Services for Victoria County, tells us that his facility has only about 30 places to hold both dogs and cats, but is currently housing over 70 animals. Sloat says that educating the public on animal leash laws and adoptions will help lower these numbers.
The biggest thing I can't reiterate enough is people need to keep their pets contained. It's a requirement of city ordinance that they be kept on their property. They have to be behind a fence or on a cable. And even out in the county, you can't let your dogs run. You know, they chase livestock and things like that. We don't want them getting hit by cars. And we wouldn't be full if it wasn't for loose dogs.
Now, if you must give up your pet, Sloat recommends posting on social media asking for a loving home, or visit the Animal Control Services website for other ways your pet can be adopted. Texas will soon have 4 new maternal health research centers to help with the state's maternal mortality. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on our CrossroadsToday.com website.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. A mother is demanding answers on why she was not notified about the death of her adult son. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, why authorities did not let her know about the death of her son.
Also ahead, a plea was entered today in the brutal attack on a Palestinian-American family in Illinois. The latest details up next. adult son was hit and killed by an off-duty Jackson police officer in March, but she didn't find out about it until August after her son's body was buried. 37-year-old Dexter Wade went missing on March 5th, the night he was fatally hit by a police cruiser. The Hinds County Coroner's Office identified Wade days later, and his mother filed a missing persons report for her son on March 14th. She didn't find out what happened to her son until August 24th, more than a month after he was buried. Bertstein Wade and civil rights attorney Ben Crump said the coroner's office asked Jackson police multiple times to speak with the Wade family to let them know of Dexter's death.
I gave you a second chance to get the number right because I filed a missing report. There again, my number, my name, my address. And they still missed it? What kind of system do we work up under?
Crump said Jackson police knew Betterston Wade because of her wrongful death lawsuit against the department in her brother's death several years ago. He said today the body of Dexter Wade will be exhumed for an independent autopsy.
71-year-old Joseph Zuba pleaded not guilty today in the fatal stabbing of a 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy and the wounding of his mother on October 14th. Authorities said the victims were targeted because of their Muslim faith and as a response to the war between Israel and Hamas. He's accused of murder, attempted murder, and a hate crime. His attorney entered the not guilty plea on his behalf after the judge read the 8-count indictment against him. His next hearing is scheduled for January 8th. Now, community members have gathered to remember the lives lost in that deadly mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine.
18 people were killed and 13 others were hurt when a lone gunman opened fire at a bowling alley and bar on Wednesday.
My heart just hurts for the people that are without their dad, the wives without their husbands. I'm grateful my grandson is alive.
Sue Russell considers herself one of the lucky ones. Her 22-year-old grandson, Justin Karcher, made it out of Schmenges Wednesday night with his life.
My grandson is in the hospital and is still in critical condition. He just had a second surgery.
It's the second shooting her family has had to endure.
4 years ago, his father was shot, and it's still too fresh for me. And when I look at my grandson, he's a carbon copy of his father.
She spent Sunday with Justin at the hospital, but it was important to her to be at the vigil too, leaving with a sense that Lewiston won't be defined by its sorrow, but by its strength.
This community is strong. It gave me a sense that we are together in this. I don't know. It gives me hope that hopefully people will heal, knowing so many people are out there and caring.
Jackie Davis was one of those people caring deeply Sunday night. She says someone shoved one of her sister-in-law's relatives into a freezer to save him from the shooting in the bowling alley.
I mean, a lot of these people that we've lost were just pillars of the community. There were lots of brave souls there that night.
She left the vigil with faith the community can find a way forward.
Lewiston is strong. We're all strong, and we all pull together.
For Russell, she plans to share what happened here Sunday with her grandson, hoping he can find strength from it too.
The support that's behind all of them, I think it would be important that he knows that.
A group of dogs is answering the call to offer comfort and support to those struggling in Maine after the mass shooting there. An organization called Crisis Response Canines, a nonprofit dedicated to providing emotional support in the aftermath of unimaginable situations, is sending the therapy dogs. That group sent a dog to Uvalde to comfort a woman following the Robb Elementary School shooting last year. The dog sent to Lewiston will start by visiting first responders.
Well, good evening, everybody. Cloudy and cold. It's 45 degrees right about now. We've had sort of light rain kind of on and off all day. Our high temperature was only 50 after the morning low of 44. The rainfall didn't amount to much. 0 at the airport. That brings us to 565 for the month and 3123 for the year. But this rain is going to end tomorrow morning, and then we're going to clear up just in time for Halloween. We'll be talking more about that, what you can expect to face out there, coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. Well, the frontal system came in right on schedule, and boy, what a change in our weather from last week. We've had light rain sort of on and off all day long. There's Victoria. You can see the light stuff that came through the region, and a little farther to the north up along I-10. It was a little bit heavier this afternoon, but even that has been decreasing. Now, see, right here is the clearing line. That's where the clouds are beginning to burn off, so that sometime before noon tomorrow, we'll see some breaks in the cloud. If we have any rain tomorrow, it'll be early in the morning, as this stuff right there is going to continue drifting overhead. But I expect it to be relatively dry for Halloween, the witching hour on Halloween. So there is the city, and we widen up, and you see the heavy showers, or heavier showers, that are rolling down through the Rockport Fulton area right about there. But generally speaking, it's all fairly light. I mean, this is what we call an overrunning pattern. The cold air comes in, then warm air goes on top of it, and we get this sort of a drizzly pattern. Well, here is the bad news. As Don was mentioning, they are beginning to cover the roads with sand or salt up in North Texas, because they're expecting to get a little freeze. This is the first freeze warning of the year. So from Texarkana, Dallas, all the way to San Angelo and above, they're going to be below freezing tonight, maybe down to 27 for at least 3 to 4 hours. And so that's going to pretty much kill anything that's growing out there. I imagine all the crop fields have already been picked up, but for any vegetation, grasses and all that, it's going to turn brown after this, and so it's the first big one. Here are the future temperatures. We start off tomorrow at midnight. We start off at midnight in the 40s, in the 30s already in the Panhandle, and then we go through 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the coldest we're going to be. So we're looking at 43 in Austin and a good 45, 46 for us. And then we go through the day, and you'll see a little bit of sun, and the temperature will warm up to about 56, 57 degrees in our area, and so will much of West Texas. So it'll be a cold night with clear skies, and then it warms up with the sunshine. So we look at the clouds, and this is what's going to be pulling away from our area. Here's the old cold front. That'll be gone. By the time we get to Wednesday, lots of sunshine and actually very nice weather. It's going to be rather chilly, but it's going to be clear, as you see right about there. This frontal system actually is not really going to pass through our area, but it's going to reinforce this cool, dry air that is going to come in and keep us on the chilly side for about 3 days. Here's the marine forecast, and it's important to know we have small craft advisories for the strong winds. They'll be a little bit stronger, 15 to 25 tomorrow. So bays are on the rough side, so maybe you want to stay in on shore there. Here's the day planner for Port Lavaca, starting off at 48, getting up to 57. Northerly winds will be rather gusty, and we expect some sun by afternoon. 46 to 56 in Cuero, and you can see that northerly wind still keeping us on the warm side. Now, I went ahead and put an alert day, and the reason for that is that tomorrow you got to bundle up the kids. So you don't want to give them one of those little cheapy plastic things. Make sure they got their warm-ups or their pajamas or whatever you need to give them 2 or 3 layers, because the temperature will drop into the 40s at night, and then the wind at 20 miles an hour will make it feel like it's the low 40s. So you want to keep them happy. After Halloween Eve, then we go on to 2 or 3 days of fairly nice weather, and then we start warming up into the 80s by the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we've got a QR code here. Scan that with your phone and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now here's Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. We are in the final week of the high school football regular season, and we only have 3 area teams ranked in the state. That's coming up after the break. At Crossroads, the bi-district round of playoffs is in the books, and top-ranked team took care of business today. That's the Goliad Tigerettes. They traveled down to Odom and proved who the real queens of the jungle are by sweeping the Santa Gertrudis Lionesses. The Tigerettes win 25-10, 25-11, and 25-12. The Cuero Lady Gobblers are the bi-district champions after tonight's 4-set win in Seguin. Cuero won by an average of 4 points. Cuero dropped the second set but responded by winning the next 2. The West Lady Warriors brought the brooms to Kingsville and finished the bi-district round of playoffs shortly after the 6:30 show. Multiple Lady Warriors had 8 kills and multiple blocks. Jasmine Valenzuela led the team with 29 digs. And for other scores, go to our website at crossroadstoday.com. Well, the game of the week is one that we have had circled on our calendar since the beginning of the season. That's Victoria East versus Victoria West. This one has a lot on the line with the results from last week. The East Titans are second place in the district after a big win over the Veterans Memorial Eagles with a 10-14 score. West, on the other hand, are 4-2 in district and coming off a barn burner against the district champion Miller Buccaneers, losing by a narrow margin 52-45. Now the two Victoria schools will battle it out at Memorial Stadium and could have ramifications for the playoffs. If East wins, they will lock up the number 2 spot in the district, but if West wins, there will be a 3-way tie for the runner-up spot in district. Memorial Stadium will be packed and filled with red, black, white, and gold colors, and head coach Charlie Reeve and coach Courtney Boyce will meet for the first time in this crosstown rivalry. Well, we are 1 week before playoffs, and there are only 3 high school football teams in the Crossroads that are ranked. The Refugio Bobcats remain undefeated and the number 2 ranked team in the state after dominating the Kennedy Lions 54-0. This week, Refugio has a chance to lock up the district title and will hope to do so against another Crossroads team. The Bobcats and Ganado Indians will battle it out in Indian Stadium. The two will battle it out for the district title a week before the bi-district round of playoffs. The Tidehaven Tigers had a minor hiccup, well, if you want to call it that, allowing just its second touchdown of the season. The Tigers have only allowed 14 points all season long, but the offense did its job, stockpiling 48 points in the victory. Tidehaven still number 3 in the state and are hosting the Van Vleck Leopards. The Cuero Gobblers football team needed some help to win the district title, but not really. That's because they're still the number 4 ranked team in the state. Cuero is in prime position to go undefeated this season and make it to the state semifinals, hopefully, and beyond. Well, final score in Game 3 between the Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks, 3-1. The Rangers now have a 2-1 lead in the series. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. Now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a hospital in Chicago held a Halloween costume contest.
It's Halloween tomorrow night, and we all know what that means. It's time for costumes, candy, and carved pumpkins. But the origin of the spookiest holiday of the year is much less commercial. It began as a pagan festival to mark the end of summer and the beginning of winter. During early Christian times, All Hallows Eve honored the dead. So show off your costume and eat all the candy corn you can eat. Just don't forget to take a picture and share it on social media. Here's your viewer poll this evening. Now, do you plan to dress your pet for Halloween? Yes or no? 92% of the respondents say no. Oh well, we want to hear from you. And you can also post your photo come to crossroadstoday.com/vote because we want to see those pet photos from Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And some little ones in an ICU at one Illinois hospital ready for Halloween. There's baby Barbie and a baby having a self-care spa day. You'll see in a second. Now the cucumbers on this next little person's eyes says it all. Well, the costume contest was sponsored by Advocate Children's Hospital in Chicago. The facility cares for some of the most vulnerable little ones in its ICU. Both little girls will receive a not-so-spooky surprise for coming in at first and second place.
Aww.
Do y'all remember your favorite costumes when you were growing up?
One year I was Beetlejuice.
Really?
With the white face and all that and the hair. That was good. That was a good one.
Okay, one year I dressed up as a duck, as a duckling.
duck?
Yeah, for some reason.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.
Wow,
that was
that's
what I wanted
good.
to be that one year.
And you, Don? Come on. Come on.
I dressed up as myself. I've scared people for years. Just years. They go like, here's the candy, go, go.
I'm here as a TV anchorman.
Yes, and I would really run for, tomorrow night if I was going out, run for the heat because it's going to be chilly.
Yeah, and that's what I want to make
right.
sure all the parents know that, you know, I'm not kidding when I say wear two costumes or put their pajamas or warm-ups under whatever you're going to dress them up as, because once the sky's clear, it's going to get rather chilly and you don't want them be out there, you know, shivering in the cold. I put it as an alert day because you need to bundle up, and I'm talking even possibly even gloves and you know, something for their earmuffs. So think about that. And also by Wednesday we clear out very nicely. Got a very nice Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday we start getting the south wind back and we start warming up to the 80s, which will be okay after the early start of the winter season.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac. Now, some of the residents at a zoo near London got to enjoy a few Halloween treats hidden inside pumpkins, and 2 lionesses were among the animals that sniffed out meaty treats inside some of those pumpkins. Look at them go. Look at them go. Alrighty, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.